Hiya everyone, I hope you're alright and I hope that you had a good weekend. Sorry if you just heard my wrist crack then. Thank you to everyone that sent me get well wishes last week. There were a couple of people that commented and there were also people that DM'd me on Instagram. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm feeling a lot better now and obviously my voice is back to normal. I listened back to the video and I was a bit like, oh my god, I didn't realise how croaky I sounded because when I was editing I couldn't really tell. And then when I listened to the actual video, I was a bit like, oh, that sounds a bit strange. But yeah, anyway, I was deciding what to build and I was having a bit of trouble actually because I was quite burnt out. It was the weekend and that, and I didn't know, I just wasn't feeling that creative. So we're getting pretty annoyed with myself about what to build, and I started off at first building a small cottage, and then I was going to do a tiny house. Then I just gave up on that completely and eventually decided to make this modern-ish home. Not really sure what style it is, I guess it's modern. But yeah, I built this home with a single parent with 2 kids in mind, but you could have a family of 4 Sims here if you wanted, with 2 parents, 2 kids. But yeah, I built it on a 30 by 20 lot in Newcrest, and it's built using Discover University, Seasons and Get Together, and it has 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. So yeah, it was a bit of a struggle to build this house. Not so much that this build itself was difficult, it was just struggling to sort through ideas. It also didn't help that I've started playing Fallout New Vegas. I can't really remember what made me think to start playing it, but my partner's recently started replaying through Skyrim, which I think I mentioned in my last video, that my friend and I actually sort of encouraged that in a way because we were watching one of his streams and then my partner were like, oh, I want to play Skyrim now. But yeah, we were talking about that, how we suddenly get the urge to play, replay old games, and I mentioned Fallout, and yeah, I just got the urge to play it because New Vegas is my favourite one. So I looked it up on Steam and it was on there. I didn't think it would be for some reason. I just thought, because it's quite an old game, maybe it's not stable for Windows 10 or something, so it wouldn't be on there. It turns out it's not stable for Windows 10, and I'll need to download a few mods, but yeah, I've just started playing that. It's working and it runs fine, it plays fine, but I can imagine a bit later on, the more I save it and the more that I do, it's gonna be a bit unstable, do you know what I mean? It's already crashed once and I wasn't even doing anything. But yeah, just the way it is, so I think I'm gonna have to get a couple mods just to stabilise the game. But that's kind of took up a lot of my attention over the weekend. And yeah, when I play a new game, well, it's not new, but when I start playing a game that I'm not usually playing, because I'm always playing Sims, I have what's called a hyperfixation. So that'll be all I want to do. It's all I want to think about. It's all my YouTube searches are about. So when that's all my brain can focus on, it's hard for me to think about other things. So I think I was just having extra trouble with transitioning back to the Sims after playing a bit of Fallout. Also on Saturday I was quite burnt out from the week before. I had quite an intense therapy session on the Thursday, so I was quite drained from that for days afterwards. So Saturday I just stayed in bed for most of the day with my partner. We were just on our phones and talking, and as nice as that is, and as necessary as it is, I didn't get anything done, so I got myself into quite a lazy mood because it was tea time, in the evening. So tea time, but that's dinner time for everybody else that's not from the north of England. But yeah, it was the end of the day sort of thing, and I didn't want to start doing a bunch of jobs then because it was the day's almost over, even though I don't go to bed till 2 a.m, so it's nowhere near over, but you know what I mean, it's the end of the day. But yeah, it was just a whole thing and I got there in the end, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how this build turned out. I feel I say that every single time. Recently I feel I say that every time that I'm happy with how the build turned out, but it's true. I don't think I'd post a build if I didn't like it. So yeah, like I said, it's intended for a single parent, but you can have up to 4 Sims living here, and I tried to fit as much in the house to reflect the Sims personality as I could because it's quite small on the inside, surprisingly. I don't know if it's just me, but the house looks quite big, but then the rooms inside are actually quite small, and I only managed to fit in 1 bathroom, but they've got quite a big backyard, so if you wanted to extend the house or add an extension, you'll have room to do so. I was thinking about what I said in my last video as well, where I talked about potentially doing a Let's Play in The Sims 2. Well, since then there's been a few like changes. I've made a couple of decisions that are definitely not impulsive ones. I'm trying to be sarcastic, but actually they aren't that impulsive. But basically, a while ago, my partner expressed an interest in starting streaming. And I've talked about it before. A couple of my friends have suggested that I do it. I've had friends that I've met through streaming, like who I've watched their streams and through Instagram and stuff, who stream, and a lot of people have said, oh, you know, you should just go for it, try it out. If you don't like it, just stop doing it. It's not a big deal. And yeah, it's something we've both talked about before. And we were talking about making a space in the home where we'd like fit stuff. So we talked about making the smallest bedroom into an office type thing and moving my setup into there. Because at the moment I do everything on my laptop, but I have a monitor and my mic set up in my bedroom. And I've just bought a PC, but there just isn't enough room in the bedroom. I've got a desk, but it's usually got drawers underneath it. And I've moved the drawers out to fit the PC under, but the drawers are now stuck out like a sore elbow or something, and the desk isn't really big enough for that. It's just like a small desk that I made into like a vanity where I can store like makeup and like hair stuff and like random wires and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to be moving my setup into the small bedroom. Eventually I'll be getting a desk that's fit for that room and it's a bit bigger, and you know, just having a more dedicated space to record and do let's plays in the future, rather than having a little corner of my bedroom where it's all cramped up and that. My bedroom is a decent size, but it's not like that big to have everything in it. Plus it's not the best for like recording audio. Like right now I've moved, my desk is all different, like I'm sat at an angle because I've had to move the desk and everything like I said, and I've moved the drawers, and so it might be a little bit more echoey than normal. I'm not sure how much you'll notice because I do like post-processing on my audio, but still, it's like a big like faff about. Like I've always got to be doing awkward things to make it work. It's like a really janky setup. So I've got like a random sound thingy, like an audio, I don't even know what it's called. It's not soundproofing, it's the other thing. But basically some like foam panels. I've had to like set them up awkwardly around my microphone. I've got my laptop stretched as far as it can go so you can't hear the fan. If you've watched any of my earlier videos, you can hear the fan in the background. I had like worse mics back then, or not as user-friendly mics. So it's just like a whole thing that's awkward, and I think this is normal for a lot of like small creators, like especially when you're first starting out. There's a lot of like speed bumps and like little issues. So if you make videos, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. And if you want to make videos, then yeah, this is kind of what it's like when you first start off, because obviously you don't start off with a ton of stuff. You just get a basic microphone if you want to do like voiceovers and stuff, and eventually I do want to do let's plays, so I want like a better setup, and it's just not gonna be good if I'm like recording in the corner of my room where the sound is like bouncing off everything. So I figured with a smaller room it's going to be a lot easier to like soundproof, and it's going to open up a lot more possibilities for later on, like recording let's plays and potentially streaming. But I'm not dead set on that idea yet. I'm actually a bit scared of the idea. I don't know why. I think it's just because it's new. I mean, you know what I'm like with changes, so one thing at a time. So that's basically what the plans are. Move from my setup now, which is in the corner of my bedroom, into a smaller, what is now a bedroom, but it will eventually be an office. But when I said before that I'm impulsive, I mean in the sense that like I asked my partner if we could move the bedroom round. So we moved the bed, and I decided, actually I don't like it, put it back, I don't want to do that anymore. And then I just said, let's get a new desk and move into the small room and do what we were going to do initially. And my partner was like, okay, slow down. But then I went and ordered a bunk bed because I want to change my kid's bedroom. So this is what it's like being like autistic and ADHD. Like I've got the side of me that likes routine. I like to plan things out in my head. I like to know exactly what's going on. No unexpected changes. And then my ADHD is like, fuck it, go on, order a bed and change everything. Like new ideas, be spontaneous, no patience. But I'm looking forward to like doing all that, even though I know that I'll be stressed and like agitated during the process, but still it's quite exciting. So the Sims 2 Let's Play will be a thing at some point. I've just got to wait and not like just buy everything and try and do it all overnight, because it turns out you can't actually do things like that overnight, and that you've got to take your time no matter how much you want to do it overnight and have it like instant. I was explaining to my kids though like how I'm gonna change their room, and I showed them on Sims like I used Journey to Batuu stuff to decorate it, because with that pack there's like little models of like Millennium Falcon, there's like models of like a TIE fighter and an X-Wing, and there's also like an R2 unit. By the way, for those that haven't seen Star Wars, they're basically like spaceships, like little battleships, and R2, it's just R2-D2, it's like a droid or a robot. I say that as though Star Wars is this like obscure thing that nobody's ever heard of, but you never know, maybe some people don't know what the names of stuff are. But yeah, I would decorate in the room and like on Sims, and they're like, oh, can we actually have an R2-D2 like that, but like a life-size one, because I'd sized it down because I couldn't find the model version. So yeah, they seem excited about the change as well, because that's the thing with stuff like this, you've got to make sure that everyone's on board, which I have to be honest, I tend to like overlook other people's thoughts on changing rooms and decorating, not in like a selfish way, but I just tend to assume that everyone's on the same page as me about stuff. But yeah, I'll update you on that as it happens if that interests you. And I'll probably like put some stuff on stories, I don't know, maybe, we'll see, I don't know how interesting that is. But it's kind of like real life Sims in a way, I suppose, like decorating and changing stuff around. If only it were that quick, like in real life as it is in Sims, so just like change a room. And speaking of making a little office, I just want to do a little reminder that there's still time to take part in a challenge that I'm doing, where you decorate an office, and the winner of that will receive a stuff pack of their choice. I've mentioned it before, so if this sounds familiar, I have talked about it in a video. I think I've talked about it a couple of times, but for the full like information on it, I'll link the Instagram post in the description. I changed the deadline of it as well, so you have until the 27th of September to put your entry on the gallery, and you can also put it on Instagram if you want, but you don't have to post it on there. Just put it on the gallery and use the hashtag, which I'll put on screen, and it's also on that Instagram post as well. Obviously the hashtag is my old name, but don't worry, I'll still see it. And yeah, I just wanted to remind you all of that. Also, what do you think to the floor plan of this build? I know we've gone past that a bit now, but do you think that it makes sense? The floor plan's like definitely my weak point where it comes to building. I'm not the best at roofing either, but floor plans, I find that they just take me a lot longer to plan and to like decide on. I feel like I walk a thin line between doing a floor plan that makes the house look the nicest and it's good for like screenshots and like the room size and all that, and then one that makes sense in terms of gameplay and like realism, which is why I don't always show me building the floor plan, because a lot of the time the footage is just kind of like all over the place and the camera's moving around so much. But what I might start and do is what I did with this build. So I decided on that floor plan like before I really recorded it, and then I just deleted it and then rebuilt it to show how I did it. So I might start and do my videos like that, but then sometimes I do change it around like while I'm building. I guess I could just mention it in the voiceover, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you prefer me to show footage of the floor plan, like how I do it, or are you alright with me cutting it out? Let me know, because I can do either, it doesn't really like make a difference to me. But yeah, anyway, we are coming up to the end of the video now, so if you want to see the screenshots, make sure you stick around for that. If you want to download the build, don't forget I've changed my name and my ID and everything. My new ID is now HutchPlays. And yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think of the build. Subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you later. Bye! bye.